Welcome back, boys and some girls. I finished playing Dragonsword Awakening, at least as far as I know. You see, when I made my previous video about why I loved the game, I assumed that I was at the halfway point in the story. Turns out, I was wrong. The game just gets like cut off. Now, before we get to the how and the why, we need to get to the what gets cut off. So Dragonsword Awakening actually had a pretty rough development journey up to this point. It kind of started out as one type of game and then transitioned into another. So there's quite a few rushed and bad decisions made throughout this entire journey for the game development. This doesn't, however, mean that the game is just terrible and to be thrown in the trash. Quite the opposite. I actually want to start by talking about what I enjoyed in this game. Since I already made an entire video about why I love this game, I'm just gonna keep this section very short. So feel free to go watch that video specifically. I'm gonna link it in the description if you want a bit more information about why I love this game. Long story short, what did I find fun about this game? Well, it's gonna be mostly the gameplay. Combining different characters and their skills, or even using a single character's skills in very smart order to apply certain status or to deal certain types of damage. It just looks cool and it's very enjoyable. It's like super enjoyable. I personally went for a full fire damage team using the fox lady, the king, and the girl with the bombs. I don't really remember all their names, but we're just gonna name them like that because that's the way I remember them. I'm not going to start breaking down the systems, but as this is an RPG, you can slowly strengthen your character by grinding specific dungeons. From gear to levels to skill levels, even there is a card system to strengthen you even further. There's just a lot of things to grind for if you wish for it. And this is basically what lured me in. Simple, enjoyable combat with a very clear progression line that isn't afraid to actually let you get stronger than your enemies. After playing for about 60 hours of clearing dungeons and exploring the map, I feel like I have gotten the most I'm gonna get out of this game. Those 60 hours were actually filled with things like unlocking towers to show a new region of the map, not by simply climbing the tower like this is a Far Cry game, but actually like solving a puzzle, or fixing a broken machine, or simply using fire to burn down cobwebs that got on the tower. Puzzles are also a decent bit of the gameplay. I'm not saying that, hey, this is a Crimson Desert level of puzzles where everything around you is going to be puzzle, but there is quite a few of them around the map. With the sweet comes the bitter. As I played more and more, I started to notice some small problems, like when you switch from one hero to another to use a skill, sometimes your character is actually going to use the skill in the opposite direction of the monster you're trying to use the skill on, even if you face the monster before you switch the heroes. Characters are also locked into playstyle, so if you want to play a certain mage or if you want to play some class, you have to play a certain character. If you want to play warrior, you have to play a different character. You can't play whatever you want. You can combine the things. Everything is predetermined. Unfortunately, the bad parts don't end here, but the gameplay part does end here because the gameplay part was mostly like purely fun. I don't have much to say about this, but the story, not so much. In case it's not obvious, we're actually gonna be spoiling the story, so you have been warned. Even if I feel that just by playing the game, you're already gonna be spoiling everything for yourself with how predictable this story is. So originally this video was actually meant to be more of a prediction game where I wrote down what I believe was gonna happen in the story and then I write down what actually happened in the scene that I predicted. Once I reached what I thought was the midway point of the story, I kind of get fed up with how predictable and how terribly written the story is. And I just opted for the usual here's my experience with the game type of video, which is what we're doing right now. So instead of making this very boring and just telling you what was actually wrong, I'm just going to read you my notes. Like I'm going to give you 2 or 3 examples of what I predicted. And then obviously I'm going to tell you what actually happened. And you can believe me or not believe me if I edited this or not. There's no way I can prove this. So let's just begin. Prediction number 1. I'll bet you money Johnny is about to do something stupid that will cause the group to be found out, leading to even more playtime for the story. And then the next note is actually after I watched the scene, what I wrote is, wow, shocker, I was right. Johnny fought Castella over with inch. I don't know what I meant here with inch, but you'll see the video as I'm reading this to you, so you'll understand what I mean. They shoot Peep from, causing Castello to fall down and get the group discovered by the soldiers they were following. Wow, I'm like a seer or a fortune teller, or maybe the storytelling is just horrible. Prediction number 2. So after getting told we need to find the heroes, we start with a sage that founded a magical academy. We get told we need to find a few pieces to complete a compass that will point to where the first hero will be at. He will likely be in a house near a forest, just waiting for us to come. This is gonna take a while and be super boring, isn't it? I'm gonna be fair here, I only got this half right, but I guess technically I did get some of it right, so I'm gonna mention it anyway. I was almost right about my prediction. The house I predicted would be at is actually on a green hill and not in a forest, and he was waiting for us outside, just like I guessed. Third prediction, this one's a little bit long because it was throughout like a decent large part of the game, so it's gonna be a couple notes. Last prediction, because this is getting boring. Next, Lute will learn something about his past and connection to the 6 heroes. Likely that the 6th hero that chose to remain private is an ancestor or something. And then after playing the game for a little bit, I said, well, I was wrong about that one. We learned that the 6th hero is apparently a traitor, and he kills the Saintess and the soldiers we were following. I call BS on the traitor part. He will probably have some made-up reason that explains in the final boss fight of the game. And then not in the final boss fight of the game. I say, after the boss, we get a lore dump about the 6 heroes, and it seems like the traitor took the dragon heart, so nobody else is going to use the power, as all the 6 heroes outside from him who didn't use the evil powers fought to take the heart and gain powers. Seems like the traitor is actually not a traitor, and he's going to give us a speech at the end about how with great power come great responsibility or some shit. There's quite a few more like small predictions I made, but they're not as fun, so I wanted to get like a mix of a few things where I got wrong, when I got right, you know, to make this a little bit more interesting and fun. There are also fillers as much as the eye can see in anime fashion. I think the best example to this one would actually be any quest related to the hero Barduk. That's the mage hero. He keeps trolling us with like stupid missions like go pick me some flowers from my back garden, go get me some special water from a special fountain over there in the mountains. It's just a complete time waster to artificially lengthen the game. I really don't like those. All of the characters are knee-deep with no personality. My most hated character is actually Johnny. He's the epitome of loud, equal funny that you see online all over the place. He keeps just shouting for no reason, interrupting other characters from talking, and just being a stupid disturbance. During one part of the game, it's actually a funeral. The big dragon comes and starts threatening everybody, so Johnny kind of tries to attack him and he does something stupid, and then there's a fight that you're supposed to lose. So what I did is I simply let Johnny be beaten up by the dragon because he kind of made me mad up to that point. From then on, I pretty much just skimmed the entire story, and then when we reached a second point, I actually just started skipping the story entirely, like skipping the whole cutscene. But with bitter comes sweet. The only somewhat of an exception to this rule is actually Lute, the main character. During one side mission, he becomes a dad, and it's kind of nice to see how he like slightly changes the way he talks and acts. He meets a little girl in the rift, and then he starts to take care of her. He tries to kind of leave her alone at the church and give her to the church, but she just keeps coming back to him, and she very obviously has something to do with the rifts. It started out as like cute and wholesome, and then it continues being so. So at the end it becomes more fillery with like random cooking contest and like gift giving arc. I just don't understand that. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the writing for this side mission is good. It's not, it's still bad as all the other missions. I think it's mostly me being hopeful, but I do believe that this actually might head in a positive direction. The ending for these side missions is Lute and Ninian just napping in the field after a picnic, and then Ninian just growing and leaving Lute behind without a word. And here I want to start talking about the main problem of this game so far, and the title probably for this video. The way Ninian's story ends is the same way the entire game ends. The main story just ends up in a teaser, and the main dragon did not show up even though he said he's gonna show up in 10 days. Ninian just leaves without a clue, Max level 70, the monsters are level 90. It just feels like somebody gave me half of the game to play and I'm still waiting for the rest of it. Now if you check the Steam page, there's actually nothing to say about an early access game or future content, nothing. What you will see though if you go to the Steam page is actually the interesting monetization scheme. A game that costs roughly $33 actually already has $90 worth of DLC skins. It's not even been 3 weeks from launch. My actually fear is that this is gonna be the rest of the game too, DLC. They're gonna sell to you what they cut from the main game. In the end, did I enjoy Dragonsword Awakening? Yes, but it wasn't the game of the year or anything like that. It is a great RPG to grind through while you're enjoying some good gameplay and the occasional funny joke. Just don't expect to be blown away. I cut maybe 80% of what I had originally meant to talk about the story because I simply don't want to deal with this story anymore. I started out hopeful but worried from what I saw in the demo. I had hopes that the mercenary story type is actually going to be somewhat of a fresh air to a very saturated genre about good guys defeating bad guys and saving girls with big tits. Safe to say I was disappointed. I really want to see the ending for the Ninian story, especially with how like she grew up. What would be Lut's reaction to this? Lut also has like an adult form that he shows twice in the game so far, and I mean, what's up with that? It's been the most like fun gameplay part of the game so far, like those very short moments where you play as Lut. Now you see where I'm kind of stuck. I enjoyed some parts of this and I had a lot of conflict with another parts of this game. I really wish the devs like good luck, and I hope that we get to see the rest of this game as free updates, and that's probably the only reason I'm gonna come back to check this again. As fun as the gameplay was, I need more of a concrete reason to go back. I'm more of a lore person, more of a systems kind of guy, and when I solved something and the story isn't here to keep me, then I'm out basically. But, well, like I said, this entire video, I really recommend you go ahead for this game. It's fun. The gameplay part is very fun. If it's in future it's going to get more free updates, it's going to be even more worth it. But yeah, that's going to be it. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, thank you. If you didn't, let me know so I can improve. Is that keep safe and I'll see you next one. Bye bye.